What's going on, Brookie Nation? We are back with episode 31 of Storybrooke Circus. I couldn't have said that with a bigger question mark because I wasn't actually sure what episode
maybe
number it was.
a show. I don't know.
Oh, it's fine. We've had a long day. It's been a long, what day is that? Tuesday?
Only
Wednesday?
Tuesday.
Tuesday, okay.
It's just been a day.
Yeah, hi. First of all,
Hi.
Who are you? I don't know who I am.
Hi, I'm Isla. Who are you?
I am the Mackie Mouse.
Do you want to start a podcast?
One day I will remember how to actually run said podcast and we'll do it. It's either the intro or the outro. It's always something. It's totally fine.
Usually both.
Or both. We are your hosts for your Once Upon a Time podcast. We're rewatching the entire show one episode at a time. And sometimes we've lost our minds by the time we hit recording, and this might be one of those episodes. It's fine. It's where we are in life. Accept it. It's easier for everyone.
But hey, how you doing? How's it been?
Doesn't sound like I'm doing too great.
Not good? Cool.
No, it's fine. I'm fixing my light so I'm not so bright.
Oh, hey, speaking of, hey, YouTube, how's it going?
Yeah, that's better. Hello, YouTube. How are you? How's it going? We always do this. Oh, we can see Bart in the background now. Yeah.
Oh my
Bart
gosh.
is totally
Hey,
a part of the show now. Hi, Bart.
Wave hi.
Hello. There he is. There
he is.
Yeah, we are recording the beginning part of this show on YouTube. So in case you'd like to see some visual antics of our normal shenanigans, here we are. Take it away while I keep fucking around with my light.
Oh, okay. So, hey, you're listening to a show. Like Mackie said, we're doing Once Upon a Time, episode by episode. We've made it to our episode 31, but this is episode 30 for our Once Upon a Time cast. So, yay, happy 30th to them.
Did one extra episode one time, so now the numbers are all wonky, which I was afraid of at the time, and it turns out all of my paranoid fears were justified. So great. That's good to feed my complexes.
Fine.
But, we'll just be one number off, and that will be a quirky character of our show.
We'll just find one episode to skip, and then we'll be back.
I guess. Yeah. I don't. My original intent. We did this before we had ever intended on doing Patreon and doing bonus episodes. So we were going to do all of our bonus episodes as part of the show. And then, it wouldn't have not mattered because we would have done multiples of those. So we would have been on episode 36 and they would have been on episode 30 or something like that. Then we started the Patreon and then the bonus episodes all go there. So with the one and single bonus episode that actually aired, as part of this podcast series, threw all the numbers off by one. Really early. Yeah. I think it was 12. And now we'll just forever, that'll be the one thing that we'll always be reminded of, that the numbers are always one off. But I think that's a success story because now we have a place to put the bonus episodes, which is our Patreon.
Speaking of, we have a Patreon.
Is that a good segue? I tried to link it. I don't know if it worked.
I was there.
Okay, you were there with me. Thank you for taking that journey.
So speaking of Patreon, we hop in there from time to time and we put some things up. And last week we just happened to release our first Hamilton episode.
Booyah.
So we've heard from a couple of you.
Sorry, I get carried away.
Thanks, Lynn. We've heard from a couple of you that you have actually sat through the 5 hours that we released there, and thank you for that.
Thank you.
But if you have listened, what do you think? What are your thoughts and feelings?
Yeah,
and then if you're like, well, wait, are you guys reviewing Hamilton the same way that you review Once Upon a Time? Yeah.
Accurate.
We're doing it right now, and you can catch it on our Patreon.
That's right. So if you haven't joined yet and you would like to support our sweet little very young podcast by supporting us on Patreon, you can go to patreon.com/thesbcpod, and as part of your pledge you will get some bonus SBC content as well as some movie content, which is Hamilton, and also some Lost content, because we're also attempting to do this exact same format with Lost as well, because Lost is connected to Once Upon a Time as well and is a we
just really love the show.
Beloved show, and we love it. And we were doing a rewatch of it, so we figured why not?
Do it with you.
Do it with you and with each other. This silly, crazy format that we have, to just babble on on podcasts and have you guys listen to it. So we love you guys so much that we dedicated an entire segment of our
Let's
show
babble about you.
It's all about you, and it is called the Storybrooke Daily Mirror. Can someone give
Thank
me
you, Paper Boys.
the etymology of the stupidness of the word mirror? Who made this dumb word with 3 R's in it? It's completely unnecessary.
Mirror.
There's not a lot of English words that are that dumb, and this is one of them. Like, why do I have to mirror?
Yeah, we're
it's
pretty
all
broken
one vowel. There's no need for that. This is a segment dedicated exclusively to you, and I only laugh because it's really exclusively dedicated to you talking about how great we are. Kind of.
Yeah.
Well, not always. A lot of people talk about why Once Upon a Time means something to them, but sort of it's also so that you can tell us how great we are. Really, but not really. So there are many ways to tell us how great we are. Isla, would you like to list not one, but every single way all in a row?
As always, of course. Send us an email, thesbcpod@gmail.com. You can write to us in a DM on Instagram. Same thing, the SBC Pod.
I think it sounds so classy somehow. This feels like Bridgerton level. Like,
slide into our DMs, bitch.
Yeah, like craft us a carefully worded letter in our DMs.
And if you are not sending us a message by carrier pigeon, you can call into our phone number, and that phone number is 207-536-8512. Again, I say that phone number is 207-536-8512. It has voicemail capabilities. It has text messaging capabilities.
This is going really well. I don't even know why I'm laughing.
Call us, beep us, if you want to reach us.
Thank you, Isla.
There's actually one more. I'm back. This is the fine print at the bottom of the ad.
Oh man, this is going so well. It's good times in the Storybrooke Circus corner, guys. We like to have some fun on this show. I swear.
Okay, anyway, if you're listening to us on an Apple device, you're probably listening on the podcast app. That's great. There's also a section on there to leave us a 5-star review. Please do. Thank you so much.
Why doesn't Spotify have reviews?
Yeah. Tell us you like us.
Like a wasted opportunity. Giving us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and also writing us a review that we can read on the show helps us get discovered from other brookies such as yourself, oncers in the TV community who are Once Upon a Time fans who also, share your passion and might want to kick it with us for a little while or forever, since it's taking a really long time to get through the show, and want to talk about it too. And also join the Discord where all of the parties are going on. I guess it's multiple parties. Sort of.
Right? I think it's one party. It's just different rooms in the house.
Different rooms in the party. Well, if we haven't already told you that the Discord is the spot to be, consider this your sign.
Invitation.
Yeah, to come and join us on the Discord. The link is in the show notes or the description, depending on what app you are using to listen to this podcast. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that the Discord is the first link on there, so no excuses. It is very easy to find. And we are having a pretty great time there. There's places to put selfies and to talk about other TV shows. And to obviously talk about this TV show. And we do polls and games. And there's like fancy roles for everyone, depending on your favorite, characters and such. So yeah, there's a lot of cool, fun things. And the most important thing is you get to talk to other people who like this too. And I find that most of the people who find us are like, oh my God, I can't believe other people are actually talking about this. Like, they're so excited because apparently when you bring this show up to your friends, everyone just makes fun of you for liking it. And we're finding that it's a common pattern that everybody's like, oh yeah, if I bring this up, people call me crazy, or they say like, oh,
it's because it's a fairy tale thing.
I think it's because it's a soap opera.
It's a stereotype.
Or both. Yeah. The fairy tale thing too is like, a show about fairies and all characters.
Yeah.
I want to watch people get murdered on criminal minds. Okay, that's Taryn's favorite show, so I'm not allowed to make fun of it. However, the idea of just
That is a very like mainstream show, though.
right,
like
but right now,
you know, everybody has that episode of Criminal Minds, so that's valid.
Or every other show where people are murdered on an episodic basis. Like,
SVU,
it's just like the thing. Everyone's like, no, I don't want to watch Elsa with stupid Frozen. I want to watch somebody get stabbed in the face. I'm like, all right, you can calm down. Well.
And then you know what? Me. So remember how we were saying that it's annoying that Spotify doesn't have reviews?
Yeah.
You know what else is annoying? That sometimes it doesn't show our international listeners reviews.
Upset
so if you're one of those specific few, which is turning out to be a little bit more than a few, which is so cool.
Yeah.
Let me just say that's so freaking cool.
Can we shout out our international peeps, y'all?
Yeah, we love you.
There are more than a couple of you we've found out, and we're really excited about that.
So we just recently found out there's another, and we're adding another country to our map, everyone.
Whoop, whoop,
country. Whoop, whoop. So Lynn over in the Netherlands couldn't leave us a review, so she decided to send us over a DM on Instagram.
Amazing.
The SBC Pod on Instagram.
The SBC Pod.
So I'm just going to read Lynn's little review. Hey guys, just wanted to say that I've been listening to your podcast for a while now, and I love it so much. I have been a oncer for about 3 years now, and it is great that I can listen to people talking about it with such enthusiasm. So thank you for creating this amazing podcast. Also, my name is Lynn, and I'm from the Netherlands. Have a great day. Bye.
From the Netherlands. Man, that is like a million miles away.
Lynn, thank you so much for sending this over. This was like, I put the biggest smile on my face when I opened it up, and I immediately screenshot it and sent it to Mackie, and I was like,
yeah,
look at Lynn. She's in the Netherlands.
So shout out to you, Lynn. Thank you for listening to the show. Thank you for writing in. Please continue to keep in touch with us. We want to know all your thoughts and feelings about our feelings, about the show. We love when people get engaged like that. So that's like super cool. I'm really, every time we've actually looked at the geographic location list outside of the United States. We already know we have a few people from the United Kingdom, but we got Germany, we got Portugal, we got Mexico, Netherlands, India, Canada. Actually, there's quite a few here that we have at least like one or two people from, and it's many, which is
I love it.
Kind of nuts. Ecuador, like South Africa, like this is really weird.
As somebody that just like dreams of going to like different countries and I haven't really gotten to yet, aside from like cruising, that just like is so cool to me because it's like you're all over the world.
Finland, Norway, Denmark. Yeah, there's
here.
I love it. We love the international folks.
It sounds so much cooler to say Lynn from the Netherlands than Isla from America.
Yeah, it's true.
I just want an accent.
We have been saying
and
this
not
for
one
days,
that sounds like a drunk Fran Fine.
I find it no coincidence that is the third or fourth nanny reference that has come into my life in the last couple of weeks. Like a bunch of people are making like nanny. Is there like a TikTok I don't know about that's like hitting? Like what's like why is everybody talking about the nanny?
No, I have just always been obsessed with Fran Drescher.
But me too.
I love her so much.
But like
I used to watch The Nanny religiously every single night.
Why have three separate people in my life who don't know each other all brought her up in the last like just couple of days? It's weird. It's the universe. Like, I randomly started a new rewatch of The Nanny because it's on HBO Max, and I found out that it's on there. And that's like, you know how you have a show?
Is it?
Oh yeah, the whole thing. So, you know how you have like a show that you put on like at night. Like I know a lot of families will like once they're done and people start going to sleep, there'll be like the one dad in the rocking chair in the living room watching like reruns of Conan O'Brien or something. You know, like there's always like the thing you watch.
No, mine was Nick at Night. So it was The Nanny and George Lopez.
Yeah, a lot of people do like Jimmy Fallon or like the late night shows and things like that, Stephen Colbert, whatever. And so because we don't have cable,
it's different now because everybody has streaming services.
All streaming,
so that's not the case anymore. How crazy.
Isn't that nuts? And also those shows turned into like a little different because of COVID. Like they weren't live anymore, and it kind of changed that whole game a little bit. Like the people who religiously watch Jay Leno. Yeah.
I used to have nighttime shows, and now it's just whatever I'm binging.
Yeah, whatever you're So I was going on, so I have like my daytime shows, right? Doctor Who, Disenchantments, which is really cool. A couple Apple TV shows, a couple random things I cycle through. Leverage. I think I'm watching something else. But my go to bed shows, if I'm not being a psycho and like starting movies at 1:45 in the morning because I'm nuts and have insomnia, The Nanny is like my number one thing. Is like it was The Nanny, Married with Children, because as a kid that was the show that came on at like 9:30, 10 p.m. that kids weren't allowed to watch at prime time. That was like the thing you will go like before you go to sleep show, and that's on Hulu, I believe. So I'm watching Married with Children, The Nanny, and like really old shows, News Radio.
You watch The Nanny when you miss home?
Yes, I do. I do. I actually, when I started it, I started it because for those of you who don't know, I am also a drummer, a gigging drummer. So I have to like practice a lot just to kind of keep my chops up. And my primary
plug.
There's nothing to plug though. It's just me randomly.
If you ever need a drummer, Mackie will show up and he will help you.
I guess, yeah. It's just me randomly in front of like Splitsville at Disney Springs playing with a friend who plays guitar. It's not like, although I do play with a band occasionally, but sure, if you'd like a drummer, I do that too.
He'll perform at your wedding.
I will do that. Just me though. Just I can do a cover of literally every song on the drums. It's like every song ever made. Beethoven's
His IG will be listed in the show notes.
Got it. Yeah.
For your next.
I'll come in a wedding singer purple suit and everything. It'll be
yes.
Great. But I have to keep my chops up a lot, and I started my primary discipline at drums is jazz and funk, jazz specifically, because that's how I learned, and everything else is kind of whatever. So, and when I say jazz, I mean like big band swing type of jazz, like quartet, that kind of stuff. And obviously the beginning of The Nanny is freaking amazing, is from a big band that wrote that piece that we're on a podcast and I have a computer, so I'm going to pull it up and play it for you because it is worth playing, and it's just an intro, so it's not very long. But it is okay. When I say it's fantastic in every way, the script is amazing. The cartoon thing, that was a really big thing for me, like 101 Dalmatians, like those opening credit cartoons are so cool. The cartoon is so sick. And the music is, it just is like a big band jazz drummer. It's got so much like meaty stuff to it. So I always have songs that I practice too, so I can like learn patterns and whatever. Yeah. And I found an album that had a bunch of TV intros on it. Cosby Show, Different World, The Nanny, Full House, like all of these, like, and there was a bunch of them that I could add to my drum list. So I just started playing The Nanny intro over and over again. And that made me be like, A, yes, I missed home because I forgot that it took place in New York. And B, listening to the intro so much, I'm like, I really just want to watch this whole show. So I just started binging the show, and that just became my nighttime show. Ladies and gentlemen, The Nanny. That is an ad.
Oh, after the stupid ad.
It's the worst. Yeah. Oh, I know why. Gonna make sure that it actually records. That would be fantastic. And here we go.
Crushing things till her boyfriend keeps her on one of those crushings. CC says what I think she's the lady in red when everybody else is looking tan. The nanny named Fred.
So like that to me is, and it's I think it's like a 30-second intro, is such a perfect, easy, quintessential big band warm-up song, right? It's got a lot of like straight swing, it's got a breakdown in the middle where you have to hit accents. Like it's a really good one to like get a feel for, really dig into having all your limbs be separate, playing different things, So I just got really into it, and I was like, man, did I love this show. And shows like it. I started watching this, Sister, the stuff that came after it, One on One, Smart Guy, like all of those kind of
Anything from the
sitcom,
90s was
90s stuff. Boy Meets World is on Disney Plus, so I just started doing a lot of those, and now it's like my cuddly warm bed shows just to make me like feeling like my childhood is like it was what puts me to sleep at night is somehow weirdly comforting. I don't know. I must be broken. It's really not.
No, that's how I feel.
Even Married with Children, like once I was old enough to finally like be okay staying up with my dad and watching it, like it was 100% me and my dad. Like my mom would be asleep because she always went to sleep early. My dad was like a super night owl, just like me. So we would just stay up and watch TV together. It was like the most bonding that we really did for the most part. We lived in New York, so like, what do you do? And so stuff like that was really, those like adult sitcoms, not like the primetime ones that for the family, like the ones you were not supposed to watch as a kid. So yeah, anyway, The Nanny apparently coming back into my life strong, which I like. I'm not mad about it. I am not mad at all. The fact that I've been able to find so many old things between specifically Hulu and HBO, like that's why I have all the streaming services instead of just like, oh, I'm a Netflix person but not Hulu.
Yeah.
Like
I have them all.
Cause like between them, I found nobody knows about the show. I guarantee you. Find me somebody. I want to see if you know this show. Hit me up with my DMs on Discord. I can almost guarantee nobody's heard of this. Have you heard of Sequest DSV? Guarantee you've never heard of this show. This show happened at the very, very end of the 80s. In the early 90s, and it lasted. It was kind of on the Star Trek wave, the Next Generation, the Captain Picard and Riker and all those guys. That started in 1987. Even though it was a very 90s show, it really started in the end of the 80s and like really got rolling in the 90s with movies and all that other stuff. Sequest was kind of in that big wave where everything was sci-fi, everything was very like, like military operations without being military, just like Star Trek was like military in space. This was military under the ocean. The idea is that it was a futuristic show where like a lot of the earth was ruined by pollution, et cetera, et cetera. It's like in the near future, and everybody's turned to fighting for underwater ocean land, and fighting for, because you can do like
very
habitats and so Sequest DSV stood for deep sea vehicle, was like the military police enforcement of the people fighting in the ocean. So they were like pirates and people like mining for oil and all that shit. So like the Sequest was like a really, really highly technologically advanced gigantic submarine, and they would just go out very like Captain Planet, very they would just like be fighting crime under the ocean. But the biggest claim to fame is the lead guy from it is Rob Schneider, who is famously the lead character from Jaws, and the lead heartthrob of the show was Jonathan Brandis, who was the lead character in The Neverending Story Part 2. I don't know if
you told me that this was the cast of Star Trek, I would believe you.
Yeah, it's I'm telling you, it's Star Trek under. If you looked up reviews of Sequest, it says Star Trek under the ocean. That's literally what it is, because Star Trek was a global phenomenon at that point.
The first episode was 1993.
93. So yeah, so that's what I'm saying. It was riding the wave of like the Star Trek original movies plus the Star Trek Next Generation, that whole sci-fi kind of like vibe that was going on in the early 90s. They were kind of riding that, and it had early 90s CGI. Let me tell you, it looked like Toy Story 1, like it, but like real.
I also never saw The Neverending Story 2.
Just look up Jonathan Brandis. I guarantee he was on everything. I just saw him. I guarantee you've seen his face on. He was on commercials. He was on Wheaties boxes. He was like everybody. He killed himself because that's a child actor, and it was awful. But like him and Jonathan Taylor Thomas, and like there was a bunch of those like really young guys who were just, and they had the same half bowl haircut that like split in the sides, right? And they're always wearing baseball jerseys, like really oversized, with like really big giant white sneakers with the socks like rolled down.
The cast of The Sandlot.
Yeah, exactly. And they were the big names of it, and the black guy in it too was also like a famous at the time. Don Franklin. He was another guy who was in a lot of sci-fi stuff and whatever. Anyway, I can tell you right now, nobody's seen this, but this is one of those things where like I found out it was on Peacock or something, and now I'm like, oh my god, I gotta watch Sequest.
Oh my
Taryn's
gosh.
like, she's like not even watching, and then So every once in a while she'll hear some stupid shit that's going on in the show, and she'll be like, what are you even watching right now? What is this? It makes no sense right now. Like the script, like none of it is. It was a very small, specific pocket of television that did
very
not age
niche.
well. It's very, very niche. It was supposed to take place in, I think, 2030s or something. So it was like, to them, it was like, you know,
so far away.
Yeah, it was like, it was, but not like super, super far. So it was outrageous. It was like just after our present. But yeah, I think it was 2032 or something like that. Anyway, let me know if you know of Sequest, or actually what I really want to know is, what is your favorite childhood show, which we'll be telling, because we have quite an age spread of people, and this is not meant to, I don't care about what your age is, it doesn't matter, but everybody has. I don't care. What kind of
childhood are we talking about?
Like when you first started having your shows, not shows that you were in the room when your siblings or your parents were watching, like the ones you identified with that you really enjoyed watching, whether you were allowed to or not. Like, is it cartoons? Is it sitcoms? Is it like, everybody's got their thing. Like, once television became something you were consciously aware of, you know, that you got to choose what style of thing you liked. Because you're only going to remember so far. You're not going to remember what you liked when you were 2 or 3. You know, you're gonna remember stuff when you were like kindergarten.
Well, I can remember my like toddler, like Between the Lions, you know, Zaboomafoo,
yeah,
Zoom, all of those. But like, oh my God, I feel so terrible because my first like TV shows were like Jersey Shore.
Well, listen, some people also didn't watch TV when they were kids because they were like, TV was not a part of their family culture.
Like I had PBS Kids until I was like 13 years old.
I mean, I did, like, you know, some of my personals, like Bill Nye the Science Guy and Where in the World's Carmen Sandiego.
Yeah, I could watch
and, like,
those and stuff,
kind of
but like we just had like PBS. Like that was it until like, okay, maybe not 13, like, you know, like 10 or 11.
Right.
And that's when I got into like, you know, like Jersey Shore,
right.
Teen Mom. That's when, no, 16 and Pregnant, not even Teen Mom. It was.
Yeah. That was when MTV started being like, so looking around the boardroom, like, what else can we make here? And they were like, all the trashiest teen stuff that they could possibly get out. Just like Jersey Shore was so popular. Well, also it was all on the heels of Real World, really. They were just trying to reinvent
I was too young
Real
for
World.
Real World.
Oh, I was too young for Real World. I was even too young for Real World was just before me. Like the real, like original Real World, not the new, like, you know, Real World versus Road Rules bullshit, but like the original cast of like the first couple of seasons, like that all became
those
famous.
MTV shows, Date My Daughter or whatever it was, like,
wasn't there like a weird, they all came off a bus and they had to like Next, that was it, Next. Dude, I used to watch that all the time.
I know. These shows were so much. Sweet 16, My Super Sweet 16.
My Super Sweet 16. Oh, I couldn't stand that
My
show.
Ride.
My dad used to hate watch the shit out of that show. My Super Sweet 16 was his favorite show to hate watch and just cuss these little girls out to the television.
I will never forget Lil Wayne's daughter's Super Sweet 16. Like, she was like a big one on there. Oh my gosh. You
ever just think about your classic grumpy old black guy who was in the war, right? That's my dad, right? So who's just like, these kids don't know how they have it and blah, blah, blah. And this stupid little stingy girl is like that. Just watching him watch the show was way more entertaining than just watching the show. It was hilarious.
My dad would watch Secret Life of the American Teenager with me.
Really? That's with Shailene Woodley, whatever her name is?
Shailene Woodley, yeah. And he would specifically only refer to it as the Secret Life of You Need to Keep Your Pants On. That's anytime. He'd be like, oh, Monday night, Secret Life of You Need to Keep Your Pants On.
What a classic dad joke. That's amazing. Oh, I love that. That's hilarious. Oh my God, I just now realized when we look back at our notes, we didn't even get a quarter of the way through our Storybrooke Daily Mirror, and we went off on a landslide.
We are so broken, it's not even funny.
This podcast, I will repeat to everyone, is just an excuse for Isla and I to have a weekly phone call and talk to each other.
Yep.
And sometimes during the conversation, you might catch us talking about Once Upon a Time. Look, Bart left. He's so bored of us. He can't even deal with our bullshit right now. Okay, what am I looking for? I'm looking for something. Here it is. We got voicemails, y'all. I'm just going to play these in the order that they came in because they are actually from longest to shortest. So we have first Jordan, who we haven't talked to in a while because she's been teaching and then she was super busy. But now she's back to let us know what she's been up to. So here's Jordan.
Hello, friends. It's Jordan. I am playing quite a bit of catch-up at the beginning of the summer. I don't know why. I thought I had listened to all of Season 1 episodes, but I needed to catch up on a couple of those. And now I am on your Season 2 premiere.
Oh, wow.
And I love you both dearly. But sweet Jiminy Christmas. 4.5 hours. Again, I repeat, I love you guys so much, and it is not that I don't want to hear you talk for 4.5 hours because I have spent, I think, about that much time.
These teachers scolding us right now.
Just like while we're both working and trying to get things done and chatting, and that is not my issue.
Can confirm. We have talked for a long time like that. I just appreciate that. Jordan, also being from the north, this is our people. Can we just talk about communication for a second? This is how our people talk to us. They're like, Jesus Christ, why are you doing 4-hour episodes? This is why we keep apologizing.
But why?
We keep apologizing because we can hear the echoes of our friends being like, what the fuck is wrong with you when we do something like this? So when we ask you if you like it and then you say yes, this is why we're surprised. It's because we would be saying this to our friends if we found out they did the obnoxious stuff that we're doing. We would say the same. That's just how we talk to each other. I don't know if it's specifically a Northeast thing or just we all happen to grow up the same way, but just to give you an idea, when we say the trauma, to give you an idea what the trauma is, that's it. Not to say that Jordan's being dramatic or is making us feel trauma. I'm just saying, like, this is what I'm used to. I heard, not even Jordan, I heard my friends like, oh, you have a podcast, that's cool. Like, what are you talking about? Like, Once Upon a Time. Well, I mean, I guess. Well, how long are your episodes? Sometimes they're like 4.5 hours. But like, fuck, Jesus, why? Mm-hmm. Like, that's how I hear it, and it's hilarious. But like, that's just the norm. So, thank you, Jordan, for repping home. Thank you for this is what I was waiting for.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for loving me. Anyway. We are so damaged. Jordan, we love you.
Why did we choose Southern accents?
I don't know. But we committed, and that's all that's important. Jordan, we appreciate your candor and your honesty, and we love you just as much. We will let you continue.
My issue is that I crave closure, and I need to hear the whole episode. So far, I have driven to work, home from work, gone to the grocery store, listened while I was in the grocery store, and I'm still not even to you guys starting the show. I love you so much, and I will continue to do this tomorrow if that is necessary and on my way home from the grocery store. And one other thing I just wanted to comment on, I don't know if anyone else remembers this, maybe it's a Mandela effect, wink wink. When this show premiered a billion years ago, it was stated as a limited series, which was, again, my craving for closure, an issue that I had. At the end, when the spell broke, I was like, yay, happy ending, what a nice show, 22 episodes. And then another curse came, and I was like, what? I'm going to keep watching this? I'm going to commit to this for another year? Which I did, again and again and again. And yes, I was one of those saps that had no plans on a Sunday night at 8. Hello, because I was in school. What did anybody else do on Sunday night?
True.
I thought that cut me off, but I just got a Snapchat. Sorry. All right. Anyways, I love you guys so much. That's the natural way of me cutting myself off. And I will talk to you soon. Bye.
Oh, God. Okay, so I said that this show is an excuse for us to get on the phone and talk with each other. I think the show has become an excuse to hear from you guys. Honestly, we watch the show as a bonus at the end, but really we show up so that we can hear from you amazing people, because the amount that we just got to laugh at just our friends, you guys are our friends. Like, this is hilarious.
We don't even have to record the episode.
No, this is just this. Our podcast is just catching up with friends now. It's catching up with friends with Isla and Mackie. That's really what it is. Also, the description of like go to work, on the way home from work, to the grocery store, in the grocery store, on the way back from the grocery store, and still not even at. This is why I'm so paranoid about, like, guys, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
I lost it.
I'm so sorry. And that description is how I processed. If I was listening to my own show, I'd be like, this guy is talking too much. Why is this show so long? And also the comment, like, I will continue this tomorrow if I have to. It's hilarious because you can't
Narrator.
do a 4-hour episode
And
in one
she did
shot.
have to.
Did. Yeah. Spoiler, she did have to. I just did a quick search and I could not find any evidence there was a limited series, but I do also have a vague memory of it being some either limited or like or a special or some kind of, you know, like I don't know. It's I have some memory of it. I don't know if it actually happened or if we just group hallucinated this, but or maybe they were just promoting it as something so special that we thought it was just
Mandela effect.
I mean, it has to be. But I totally understand the need for closure because while I also feel that, I am also scared of it. Because we've talked about like not finishing. Like I need closure, so I need to know what happens, but I get right up to the part where they are about to tell me the last thing that happens, and then I have to like cancel my way out and stop.
I have 2 episodes of Lucifer left.
Oh my God. So Lucifer I was late on, and so I started rewatching at your recommendation, but I'm so far behind that I wasn't able to like catch up when the new season released. So I'm in like season 2 or something right now. But I love it. It's a great show. It's very cleverly written. Did we talk about Miranda? I feel like we did. It's a British comedy show. It's actually a British comedian who started a show similar to like Ellen was a stand-up comedian. Then she started like her own show. And one of the actors on the show was a very, very young Tom Ellis, that's how I know him from. Before American TV.
I think we did talk about this.
Yeah, he was like her love interest, and he was brilliant on that show, although it was comedy. And he does do not Lucifer type of comedy. It was like slapstick sitcom comedy, right? Like
really?
He's like the guy who she falls in love with, and
he seems very goofy in real life.
Oh, okay. We should watch a little bit Miranda together because I know you're such a huge Lucifer fan. I want to see what your reaction is to watching him in this like
I do.
Steve Urkel type of role.
I got really attached to the cast, so yes, I would because now I follow Tom Ellis's wife on Instagram because I'm obsessed with your wife.
Yeah. Like I don't know the amount of people who know that Hugh Laurie from House, the guy who plays House, is a long-standing A, comedian, and B, jazz composer. He has jazz albums out. He's like Jeff Goldblum. Like he plays piano and he has a brilliant
You told
voice.
me this because I'm obsessed with him.
Oh, it's really, really good too. But as a
House
comedian,
was one of my favorite shows.
He and Stephen Fry, who, for anyone who has ever gotten the one of the versions, I don't remember which one. I think it's the American one. The version of the audiobook of Harry Potter is as read by Stephen Fry. That's his voice. Very, very, very posh. Received pronunciation English. We talked about accents, right? He is the BBC News accent, very classic, straight ahead. And Hugh Laurie, they had a show called a little bit of Fry and Laurie, I think it was called. And it was the two of them in basically a vaudeville kind of variety act, right? And then he got picked up by Rowan Atkinson, who plays Zazu in The Lion King, also plays Mr. Bean, if you're familiar with that character, who played a character in the 80s called the Black Adder, which was it was a comedy sketch that he wrote for a charity. It was like a Red Cross telethon kind of thing. And the character was so popular that they turned it into a limited TV show. It only aired for 4, technically 5 seasons with specials, and every season was 6 episodes. It was like really short, limited run. And the idea was that there is a Black Adder in every generation. So season 1 was Henry VIII, right? So he's like the son of some prince in some kingdom, and he's a doofy like Mr. Bean type of character. In season 2, Miranda Richardson, who plays the animagus bug, Rita Skeeter in Harry Potter, she plays Queen Elizabeth II, who is the off with her head queen that Alice in Wonderland Queen is based off of, right? So she was, famous for beheading Protestants. That's like the thing. She's Bloody Mary. Oh, not Bloody Mary. That's Mary, Queen of Scots. But most of the queens of England, frankly, were most known for beheading people. It was like their most claim to fame. But she was very petulant, very, very, very young, and so she was snappy a lot and would just order people to be killed. Well, the Blackadder in that era was her like main advisor or something, and they were always making fun of him, and he was always trying to not get killed by the queen. In season 3, he was the butler to King George III or something. So it's like British history and them saying that this Blackadder character, and so he is it's the same actors, everything, right? It's the same actors in all of them that are playing slightly different roles, and the Blackadder is always super like smarter than everybody in the room, but like the poorest one, like next to he has a servant, but like he's like poor, he's like a servant to the queen or whatever. In episode 4, he was like a lieutenant in the British Revolution or something, like in a war. And again, same characters playing the same type of roles, but in that next generation. Hugh Laurie was one of that band of like theater people with him. So in season 3, he was King George III, and that's what made him famous, like that role. And it was just 6 episodes, and King George III was famously stupid. He was like really, really dumb. And so
we talk about it in our Hamilton episode on Patreon.
Yes, we do. And so like Blackadder actually being smarter than the king, but having to serve him all the time causes this like fun, and he has his own servants. So like he's always talking about leaving and starting his own thing, but because of his class status, it doesn't work. But Hugh Laurie and Rowan Atkinson doing that back and forth of the, Prince and the Pauper type of thing, but him being smart is just absolutely brilliant. And as a kid, I used to watch it all the time. So when House came out and like America's like freaking out over how great he is, and I'm like, that's this doofy king guy from all the Blackadder stuff. Like that's what like what I know him from.
But he was perfect as
like,
House.
So, I mean, he really was. You
want to talk about closure? That show had the most beautiful ending.
I mean, that show was coming on the heels of Grey's Anatomy and ER and like all of these like very famous dramatic American medical shows. I think it was probably one of the more important pieces of writing of our lifetime, I think, on TV in terms of drama, which we understand is like overplayed and or like very grand and big and over dramatic. But I mean, it was absolutely brilliant. But to watch a character like that is all I'm saying, playing a dramatic role, even like Lucifer, which is witty but not like goofy slapstick funny. Like it's
not a. It is
like
a comedy, but it's not. I know what you mean.
But to watch both of them in Great Britain getting on these like goofy sitcoms it's a lot more normal for them to flip back and forth between comedy and serious stuff because Brits aren't as mean in terms of making fun of people as Americans are. So if you took like a straight up comedian and can you imagine like Jerry Seinfeld in like a horror movie? Like it does, like we would just laugh. We would never respect it. Whereas I think it's a little bit more respected in another country. I mean, that's based on absolutely nothing. That's just conjecture. But that's just what I see is that they seem to flip back and forth with no consequence.
No, I agree with you.
But
then I think about Robin Williams, and I can see him both.
We had some exceptions. I think because it went so over the top, like it went past a threshold of like Tom Ellis is like a normal actor. He's not, like he doesn't have that like special thing that like a Robin Williams would have. That's like just way outside, like nobody really has. So I think their like normal line of actors can still do that. Okay. Whereas here you'd have to be like really over the top spectacular to be able to pull off both somehow. And, and even then it's rare too, Like how many have we had? Like we have older ones, Robin Williams, even John Leguizamo or like some other like, but how many do we still have? Like
I don't know.
Ben Affleck is really on the fence.
Now.
Like Gone Girl was good, and obviously Jay and Silent Bob are like really funny, but like we still don't really respect him that
Affleck
way.
carried Gone Girl. No, he did not.
No, I need to watch that movie again. It was really confusing. Like I don't know. I still don't know how
I can't think of anyone.
Right? Like who is active, even, or even just recently active. Well, Heath Ledger, maybe. 10 Things I Hate About
Ryan
You.
Gosling.
Really...
No, he's more like a Tom Ellis. Like
I wouldn't know. I would count Ryan Gosling because he can do very, very
Ryan
funny.
Reynolds.
Yeah, actually, Ryan Reynolds I would count. I
think I would count Ryan Reynolds.
Because
look at Deadpool.
Yeah. But look at the prestige that someone like that. You see how much gravitas that character has to, like, he as an actor has to carry around.
Name,
yeah.
Like,
but he's a household name as like a god, like as this like perfectly crafted, beautiful, charismatic, like it's all these things. Like Tom Ellis.
There's actually no one more perfect than Ryan Reynolds, if we're being honest here.
If we're gonna put a finer point on it, he's actually kind of perfect.
Him and his wife, Blake Lively. Blake Lively.
She's pretty stunning.
Never mind. Okay. They're just like the most beautiful couple I've ever heard of in my life.
They're pretty wonderful. I agree. By the way, we are still having a podcast recording, just in case you were tuning in from wherever you came from. If you're fast forwarding and you're like, get this out of here, and here it is. Here you reached it. Thank you. You can stop here so that we can continue to play you voicemails.
I can't even take it back now.
I don't plan on. Why would we take any of that back? Ryan Reynolds is going to hear that and become best friends with us, and you're talking about taking it back? How dare you? I don't know. It's fine. Here we are. Listen, the people asked for this. Did they? They're probably going to stop listening soon. They're like, I can't handle this anymore.
Someone else called in, right? Let's give someone else a chance to speak.
Sure. It was Lucas, actually. So let's hear from Lucas.
Hi, Mackie and Isla. This is Lucas. I hope it's okay because I'm calling again. I feel like I've called a lot.
Definitely okay.
But I wanted to call because I'm officially caught up.
Woo!
Yay!
It should be confirming that I was able to do it as fast as I was, but it's fine. I have a couple things to say. So first off, about like the Tallahassee episode, you were like confused as to why Emma didn't trust Hook. I think it's like was shown through that episode with the story with Neil as to why she just doesn't trust people. And I feel like they both have like the same kind of cocky attitude. So she was like, I know this kind of guy hurts me. Yeah. So there's that. And then another thing, don't hate me. So I haven't watched the show Lost. I don't have, like, it's not something I'm like very, very interested in. I might watch it at one point. But
we will never hate you for that.
It makes me sad that 8:15 is not like a once upon a time thing. Like 8:15 is everywhere in Once Upon a Time. And to know it's a Lost reference, I don't know, it made me kind of sad. Please don't hate me. Also, Mackie, you mentioned something about me calling around episode 18 to talk about how I felt about the ratings and stuff, but I didn't know that until I was past episode 18, so yeah, my bad. And my favorite season 1 episode is Stable Boy.
Nice.
Oh.
Yeah. That's all I have to say. Bye.
Love
Hi,
it.
Lucas.
Thanks, Lucas.
Thank you,
appreciate
friend.
You. Also, we don't hate you for not watching Lost. It is probably...
You know what, though? That kind of makes me sad. That there are people out there like Lucas who think that 8:15 is like a Storybrooke reference. Like they see 8:15 and they're like, oh, well, Storybrooke.
8:15.
I don't want to take that from them.
As this time thing, I don't think that it's unreasonable. 8:15 specifically, like, yes, like 8 and 15 were part of like a bigger set of things in Lost.
Yeah.
But 8:15 specifically, because, I mean, he's right. Like 8:15 as a grouping was used multiple times. Not just like, yes, there are other random Lost numbers and that's fine, but 8:15 staying together and being a time and being a date and all that stuff.
That time.
So to me, I don't think it's not a once upon a time thing. I think it is a once upon a time thing. At 8:15 specifically. And yes, it originated from Lost because Lost came first, but I think
you know what? I think you're right.
It kind of evolved into a bigger thing.
It's both.
Yeah. I think it
So
started.
Lucas, you get to hang on. You can hang on to 8:15.
100%. I don't think it takes anything away from that.
You have a solid case for it.
Of course. I mean, yeah, that's a slam dunk, I think.
Yep, it is.
Also, you can own whatever you want to own for your show, and no one can take that away.
Yeah, that's true. That as well.
So if you want 8:15, that's yours, man. Like, I don't know. We're not like nobody's gonna strip
We will
that
not
away.
gatekeep and girl boss 8:15.
Yes,
You
gatekeep.
can...
That's what I meant. Gatekeeping. Dumb. And if you want to watch Lost, you can. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. But don't feel pressure to, because
No pressure.
you're not missing anything necessarily. But if you get bored one day and you just want to, catch up on the stuff we're talking about, or other people have talked, you've probably heard other people talking about. It's a good bingeable show that's easy to get sucked into and then get really bored with, and then be like, I should finish it, and then get sucked into again. Like that's kind of what my experience was. Like the middle part, the middle to toward the end, until it picks up again around the like spinning of the wheel thing. You know what I'm talking about? Like once things got really crazy, like that whole part before that was so like, okay, what else?
I can see why there would be a drop off and then a remembrance and then finishing it out strong.
Yeah. But once that the wheel got spun and everything started going haywire, like that's from that point to the end of the show, I was glued. I needed to see 6 episodes in a row because I couldn't stop because I wanted to see the next thing like the whole time, all the way to the end. So
right.
It's pretty good. Anyway, that's all I'm saying. It's pretty good. And thank you for remembering to call back around.
The Stable Boy is a very good episode.
The episode Stable Boy is a fantastic entry for favorite episode. Although I would love to know why. Not because I don't think it's a good choice, but there are a few. Excuse me, hiccups. There are a few different reasons why it could be your favorite.
A few different things that happen.
Yeah.
So
I'm just
like
curious
which one did it for you?
Is there something specific? Yeah. So thanks, Lucas, for that awesome voicemail. We have one more
from a special guest.
This is great.
Hi, my name is Jeff. Just kidding, it's Taryn from Texas. Okay, so I promise this isn't gonna be like an every week thing, or it could be, I don't know. But y'all are currently in the part where y'all are talking about whether you think Gus like sliding in like that little like smoothness was charming or creepy. And it made me think of the Doppler/Dahmer effect, where it very much depends on if you find it endearing or not. So, like, a lot of these things that happen in this show, and this is just a good example of it, if you found this person to be creepy, a lot of the things that, like, even things that Charming does would come off as creepy. But because we like him, they come off as charming, right? So it's the Doppler/Dahmer effect, and it's just so funny. Like, I like to watch this show now because it's, like, the millionth time through, and I'm like, okay, but if this was anybody else, would this be cute, or would it be like, what are you doing? Like, why are we this way?
That's called pretty privilege.
So, anyways, super fun fact, Doppler/Dahmer effect. Okay, that's all. Love you, bye.
Yo.
Have a great weekend.
Love you, Tanner.
Ran coming in.
Love you, Tanner Ran.
I love it.
Yeah, so the Doppler-Dahmer effect is now worded as pretty privilege.
Oh, really?
I don't, that's not the official name change, but pretty privilege is exactly that.
Is that how people are talking about it now?
If Zac Efron comes up to you and it's like, I'm buying you a drink. Hot. You know what I mean? Like you're jumping off a cliff because it's Zac Efron. If, Joe Schmo walks over and goes, I'm buying you a drink, you're spitting in his face and walking away.
Right.
Pretty privilege.
Interesting. Is it specifically because of, is there like always the same reason? Is it specifically physical appearance? Is it like just status? Is it environment and like the context? Like, you know what I mean? Like it, like what makes it this, like the Doppler-Dahmer thing? Is it just because of circumstance changing your perception, generally speaking, or does it have to be something specific?
I don't think it has to be something specific.
Because it's a really, really valid point that's kind of essentially what I was trying to bring up when we stopped the episode, when we were saying like this to me, I'm reading it a certain way and you were reading it a slightly different way, and we kind of like met in the middle somewhere. But like what was polarizing that into two different receptions when it was the same guy delivering it the same way, but it's received in two different ways, possibly 3 different ways if we count Red's reaction and Belle's reaction being different than the two of us, of not really knowing if he's creepy or if, like it is very interesting that if it's anybody that we're supposed to assume only has good intentions, then we're like, oh, he's just being nice. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's
right.
It causes this sort of blocker, to what it could be, which I always wonder too, like back in the day before people were getting, like raped and kidnapped and killed and so much more frequently, when like literally everybody's scared of everyone else, things like this were commonplace, of like talking up a girl at a bar is like the only way you met anybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Before like digital and social media and all that other stuff. So now if anybody talks to you, they're automatically trying to slip stuff in your drink. Like that's your assumption is always not even just like malice. It's dangerously bad. Like this person will murder. Like you go straight to I'm getting murdered tonight.
Yeah.
Not like this guy might be a Republican. like not anything like, you know what I mean? It's interesting that at some point that was the charming, like going up to a girl and getting a milkshake for her and sharing it with 2 straws was romantic. And the modern day equivalent of that is like horrible. Like you wouldn't even dream of doing. It's automatically disrespectful somehow. You know what I mean? Very odd. Tanner Ann, thank you for enlightening us with this philosophical conversation. I love that she always dips in and just like hits us with these bombs and fun facts. And she goes, you probably already know this. And by the way, like 3 times out of 3, I have not known anything that you're saying.
Exactly.
And
no, never.
Like,
she comes out spitting straight cool facts.
Right? It's just like enlightening my life here. And you're like, you probably already know this, but bam, bang, 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 bang. Here's a bunch of stuff you totally didn't know.
Right.
This is why we love this segment, because you guys teach us things and you make us laugh and you make us feel like we have friends.
I swear to God, there's a ghost in my house right now.
Isla's very concerned that she is actually on a ghost hunter show and not a podcast about ones.
I felt it. That was so spooky. Okay.
You do live in the spookiest place in America.
I know, it's so, oh my God. Okay. Let's move on from this.
Well,
I'm just going to hope they're nice and be okay with it.
If you just put your volume really, really high up and then put your headphones into the air, then they will hear the newsboys scare them away. Get out of here, ghosts. You are not welcome here. Our show pre-show begins. We are in season 2, episode 8, Into the Deep. Character
Into
backstory. Oh God! Oh, I didn't pull it for a sound effect. What were we gonna play that for? Oh, anytime we're in the woods. That's what it was. Okay, the amount of people who were confused that we were making an Into the Woods, the musical reference, was
Into the Woods to Grandmother's house.
Yeah, not only was it alarming, it made me feel so good that our audience is so tuned into musical theater. I have never been a more happy host in my whole life. Can I just say that, please? Like, honestly.
It's perfect.
Thank you guys for being like our people. Like we're attracting ourselves to listen to the show, I assume. And it doesn't mean that we don't like you if you don't like musical theater. There were already people in Discord who were like, I don't really dig it. That's totally fine. And we respect you just the same. It's just that musical theater fans are hard to find and pull out. So I'm just glad that we found some at all, just to represent that side of things. But yeah, people turned out and were like, I thought you were talking about Into the Woods. And I was like, that's a hilarious miscommunication. That no, we're talking about the Backyardigans and TikTok by extension. Anyway, character backstory is Aurora. We get Aurora's backstory now.
Not really, actually. Spoiler
No?
in one of our production notes.
Okay.
The episode focuses a lot on Aurora.
Oh, but it's not necessarily
And,
her.
Dealing with Ben, but this is the first ever episode that does not have flashbacks or flash forwards, so we're not really
so you're not
getting a backstory.
It's just Aurora's episode, which is weird because they were okay saying character backstory none and then still having an episode, but it's interesting they wouldn't do that here. This is a wiki page, meaning that it was filled in by normal people. Like people submit to it. So I always wonder, like, I don't know how these work. Like, somebody's got to be editing them. So if it's just like a mishmash copy paste of a bunch of different people's information, I can see how it would have like one style here, but a different style here. You know what I mean? It's kind of odd.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Well, it aired on November 25th, so I suppose this is their Thanksgiving episode. Not that it makes a difference, because it's not like they're not. I don't think they're like celebrating Thanksgiving in Storybrooke or anything. But it is notably Once Upon a Time's 30th aired episode.
Congratulations, 10 years later.
Yay! Oh my God, does that mean they're 40 now? Well, no, this doesn't really work that way, I guess.
No.
Yeah. It was written by, it looks, I'm seeing 2 new people is what I'm seeing here.
Yeah.
I don't believe either one of these names I've heard before. Kalinda Vasquez and Daniel T. Thompson. Is that an and, not ampersand?
Yeah, I copy and pasted.
So that would have been people, it says also co-produced. Does that mean both of them are co-producers?
Yeah, both of them are co-producers on this episode.
Oh, so this is some nepotistic bullshit is what this is. They're just like, well, the producers can all write for the show. All of the producers wrote that, or again, are all of these producers writers, or are all of these writers producers? Like, are these like writers who just get a producer credit, or are these producers who they were just like, hey, you, write an episode. It's your turn now.
Well, Jane is definitely a writer.
We knew this. Yeah, for sure. So,
but she's also a producer.
I just picked up some of these, and these Wikipedia entries on the individual people say an American television writer and producer. So it's really hard to tell. Look,
how does this work?
Staff writer for
We always
Terminator. Following the first season of Once Upon a Time, an executive story editor and writer in the second season, promoted to co-producer. That's a writer with a producer credit. In total, Thompson had writing credits on 6 episodes and producer credits for 2 seasons, which is also strange because if that's a writer who was promoted to producer and then all of a sudden wrote 6 episodes but produced for 2 full seasons, that's 44 episodes.
Like what?
I'm so confused. Whatever. I guess it's not really that important, but it's just I still keep coming back to this. Again, writer and producer. Prison Break.
I know.
Human Target, Nikita. But they all so it looks like they all started as writers and then like developed into producers, and it seemed like a lot of them that switch happened on Once Upon a Time and then they became producers after that. You know what I mean? Like they got into the business as a writer, they got contracted onto Once Upon a Time as a writer, and during Once Upon a Time turned into a producer and then started producing from that point on.
Branching out as a producer. Huh, interesting.
Which, like, does that mean Once Upon a Time just churning out these amazing talent that Once Upon a Time's turning people into, like, film industry superstars and television industry superstars? Or is it just that they had a lot of extra money and had money to blow and just started promoting people? Like, I have so many questions. I guess
it's just a weird pattern that we've discovered.
And it's just weird. It's not just 1 or 2 people. It's like you didn't get a promotion because you were good. Literally every writer on the show got promoted to producer. So
yeah.
What? And some of them got promoted to executive producer. I'm very it's just I've never seen that before. Anyway, directed by a Mr. Ronald Brian Underwood. I just went to his wiki page and saw his middle name. I don't know why I did that. 8.75 million was last week. This week we have 8.8 million. So we're kind of holding steady at the almost 9 million mark.
Yeah.
The synopsis reads as follows. Cora does everything in her power to steal the compass away from Mary Margaret and Emma in her quest to find the entrance to Storybrooke. Meanwhile, in order to protect Henry from further danger, Regina and Mr. Gold must put David's life in jeopardy in an attempt to put him in contact with Mary Margaret across the lands to give her vital information that could help her and Emma return through the portal back to Storybrooke. That is a 4-line sentence without a period. It is so many words.
Wow.
In order to protect Henry from further danger, Regina and Mr. Gold put David's life in jeopardy. And then why, in an attempt to put him in contact with Mary Margaret, where is she? Across lands. Why? To give her vital information. This is too many subjects in a sentence. Who wrote this?
There's a lot happening.
This is way too many. Oh my God. We're just a mess. It's fine, but it's okay because we're all here and we're together and that's all that matters. And now we're going to talk to you about production notes. You're welcome for the pep talk. I needed to calm everybody down. Everybody was getting out of control. We just need to sit down, take a deep breath.
All right, rein it back in. The title card on this episode features Cora's heartless victims as corpses in the forest.
Reanimated corpses. So these are the ones in the town that they went back to? Is that what I'm assuming here? Remember they went back and found Hook and they were all dead? That little
village, yeah.
Okay, that's kind of dark. Cool.
Yeah, it's really creepy, but okay.
Let's see, we got a cultural reference in here. Oh, a spindle prick is described as the old-fashioned way of delivering the sleeping curse directly to the victim's bloodstream, with poisoning by apple described as a later intervention. I love how they actually put some sort of evolution behind villainy, you know, like old villains
behind
used
bad
to use
magic.
like the good old-fashioned way, and now we have technology like baking. Like it's just, that's kind of because you never really think of it that way. It's just separate things. But like the old like woobly woobly, like you have to actually curse someone verbally. Like Maleficent went in and verbally spoke a curse out loud, which was the equivalent of going abracadabra, like, and then like saying like, by the way, I'm not even gonna do it now. We're gonna wait 16 years for her to grow up and for you to all forget about it, and then eventually this like super long game for villainy. And the evil queen was just like, yo, eat this apple right now, bitch, right now. And immediately die. Like it was, you know, like I can see how that would be sort of a little bit of a innovation, forward moving villainy innovation. It's interesting wording. I like that a lot.
And those are obviously nods to Sleeping Beauty and Snow White.
Yeah. The good old Disney references. But it's so great that also that the sleeping curse is like the villainy move of choice, but it's in different packages, and it's like
always it's gifted differently.
It's like
time.
The thing you can like customize to your own brand. You know what I mean?
Girl boss the shit out of that.
Make it your own.
Own your own time.
We should have a spin-off of villains who are like it would be like Evil Queen and Maleficent had like a QVC channel, and
they're like, gonna say QVC.
They're talking to like the younger generation of villains, and like, do you hate that old-fashioned sleeping curse? Do we have the thing for you? That's like a College Humor thing waiting to happen.
And then, you know, speaking of Disney references, we have another one where in Storybrooke, Belle has a glass of iced tea in front of her at Granny's Diner, and it is a modern reference to the scene where the living tea set bring Belle some tea in Beauty and the Beast.
That is the very
first thing I think that's like the cutest,
right?
subtle Disney reference.
Yeah, that's really cool. It's I like that it doesn't have to be a 1-for-1, that it's like iced tea. It's not even tea. Like it could have been
it's not even
it could have
like
been
hot
very
tea.
yeah.
It's just
and it could have been like served in the chip glass. Like it could have been really spoon fed, but I like the fact that
this is like a cute tip of the hat.
Tip of the hat, yeah, which we really like. Did we skip these on purpose, or we're just moving around?
No, I just decided to connect Disney and Disney.
Oh, I like it. No, I'm making like audible moves. That's great.
Sorry.
Well, here's a ridiculous one for no reason, and I don't know how anyone acquires this information.
I loved this one.
I'm assuming it's an interview because it says according to Guinea Good, so I'm assuming
it made me really happy.
She just said this randomly. Apparently, so there's a raven being used, which I'm assuming is a twofold, not just Maleficent raven thing, but I thought there was another like raven reference for something of like. I think ravens are what like mourned Snow White when like one of the animals or something
in the
when
animated
she died.
film. Yeah.
So I'm assuming it was some reference to that. But apparently the raven that they used in this episode, it lands on her shoulder during filming. Apparently it's named Chili. And I don't know how that would have come up in an interview, that she was just like, me and Chili hanging out. I want to like find this attribution, like that it was according to her. Like, what was it, a Comic-Con? Like what? And how does that come up? Like I really want to know.
Yeah.
But I also have this love for like the names of things like babies and horses and other animals and stuff on
Chili.
set. Like Chili's great. Can you imagine having a you call the animal people and be like, yo, we need a raven, trained raven needs to land on somebody's shoulder. Like, cool, yo, Chili's got this.
Chili,
like,
let's go.
Yeah, like call them by their. So a couple of people we know here in Florida were animal trainers and care cast members and team members. So we know some people who worked on the animal shows at Animal Kingdom and in Universal, like a bird lady. not a bird lady. She was like a young girl, amazing, but her whole life she was just like attached to these animals, and her whole Instagrams just like her with like parrots and macaws and all these different kinds of animals in the show that she trained herself from when they were young.
I'm terrified
and like
of birds.
all these furloughs happened, and like it was really, really sad
That's
because she had to
terrible.
like give everything up. But like I know she like they're all named and they have like characters on her Instagram. They all have personalities and all this
Oh my
other stuff.
gosh.
They're like amazing. Animals are really crazy, especially
Yeah.
trained ones. They're nuts. They're so expressive. Anyway, we move on.
We have an observation. In the episode promo, Aurora is pulled out of the netherworld in a cloud of purple haze, but in the actual episode, gray smoke surrounds her.
Oh my god, somebody messed up the color.
It's a little goof.
I mean, unless they like write it off as some kind of weird meaning of us
Yeah.
looking through a veil of blah 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 blah.
But right now, it's a little goof.
I call it a goof. Reused props. What is reused here? In the back room of the pawn shop. Okay, there's the tea set lamp. We talked about that. I think in one of those, like the ones we were talking about the puppets, we were naming things in his pawn shop.
It says it.
Oh, it does say it. Which is, oh, no. I mean, like, it was before Hat Trick. It was because we had talked about the first time that the tea set and the lamp showed up.
Oh,
Because in Hat Trick, we
yes.
talked about that it had showed up in, I think it was Price of Gold, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, anyway, it's the same tea set lamp that was in Jefferson's house in Hat Trick. It was just, the color was just changed, which leads us to a very, very short version of one of our favorite segments of the show called Brand Info.
The lamp is known as an anthropology 1 lump or 2 lamp base.
One
no
lump
longer
or 2 lamp?
available.
I love that name so much.
Right?
Anthropology, being clever. Our next piece of brand info comes from our friend Belle, who is wearing a Chloe dress from BCBG. Also no longer available. I'm not reading that whole name. That's stupid. It's BCBG's. That's it.
BCBG Maxarizia?
No thanks. Pass. Belle is very on brand. She's always, if we notice, Belle is the one repeatedly like wearing things to award ceremonies
showing
and
up.
stuff. Like her wardrobe is always to die for.
Literally.
Did I tell you that this is sidebar, me and Isla being friends again on the podcast? Did I tell you that we saw Clifton from What Not to Wear like directly in front of us at Coronado Springs when we stayed there?
No.
We were walking because they have a bridge. They have three bridges, all because there's a big lake in the middle. 3 bridges that meet at a restaurant in the middle called the Three Bridges Restaurant. We were like bouncing around in there trying to get reservations for dinner, and we walked across one of the bridges, and at the end was a guy with his family, and everybody was behind me talking, and I did that thing where I walked around him like this the whole time, and I turned and I was walking backwards, and I'm like, babe. And she's like, what? You're being so weird. What do you want? Babe, that's Clifton from What Not to Wear. Turn around. Oh my God, turn around. And we're like being super weird. And he was just chilling with his family. Yeah, he was right in front of me. And I love celebrities like that are like just famous enough where like they've been on TV, but like they're not going to be swarmed by randos who are like, oh my God, Kim Kardashian. Like, it's not, you know what I mean? So he was just left alone. Like nobody, if I hadn't said anything, they would have missed it completely. But I am cursed. I say cursed. I really love this attribute about myself. Growing up in not just New York, but walking like the middle of Midtown Manhattan so long, you get used to spotting people in a crowd. You ever see those like weird like magic tricks on in film and TV shows where there's like a lot of people walking by and then they walk by and then the person behind them disappears? Like that's real. Like that really like you lose people in a crowd. So you're talking like thousands of people all walking in the same direction in the middle of Times Square. And so to be able to just like celebrities that are in Broadway shows openly walk around in Times Square unnoticed is really, really bizarre. Like, like they just, I mean, depending on their level of fame, like if you walk with enough purpose and you're not overly, like if no one's fawning, most people recognize celebrities because of their entourage. So if a person like Donny Osmond, literally like, I'll make a man out of you, Donny Osmond, was walking in the street. I was on my way to a theater and he walked by and like bumped into my shoulder. And the only reason I knew it was him is because he turned around to say sorry. And I was like, oh, it's okay. You're Donny Osmond. He was playing the Beast at the time in Beauty and the Beast.
No, I'm sorry.
I was like, what? And before I could process what happened, I was like, oh, yeah, okay. This woman, he turned back around and this like 45-year-old woman was like right in front and eyes lit up like she was going to eat him alive. And he started running. Like he because he had to go to the theater. He was like, okay, I gotta go. And like ran down the street.
Oh my God.
There's so many cases of seeing like random celebrities who will like come out of the stage door and turn a corner and then are invisible. Like the stage door people are going crazy. Like Idina Menzel and Kristen Chenoweth used to do that in Wicked all the time. They would come out of the stage door and all these fans, and then they would just walk down the street like normal people. like it wasn't a group of like groupies like following them all the way down the block. They would
So crazy.
New York is such a weird place, but doing that often enough, you start to be able to pick it out of a crowd. So every time I always tell Taryn, I make fun of myself because when I case a room, when I walk in, not to rob it. In fact, the opposite. I look at every set of eyes in the room to identify if I know them or not, or who is there, if I recognize them. Yeah, and the reason is because I was sort of a bad kid who was always not where I was supposed to be. And so I had to find the person in the room who's going to rat me out to my mom so I could stay on the opposite side of the room from them, because New York is real small. You're going to see your next door neighbor 10 miles away from your house. You're going to be in Manhattan where you don't live.
Oh my gosh.
And so I would have to walk in a room and be like, yo, is there anybody who knows my mama? Because if so, I got to plan B this. So now, and then I would go, oh shit, that's like Omarion or whatever. Like I just be like, while I'm looking for how to not get in trouble, I'd be like, oh, a celebrity's over there. But by the way, if friggin' Sally from church is here, I'm gonna have to leave. So
I have to go. I have to bounce.
Sorry, Omarion. Our meet and greet is gonna have to wait. But yeah, Clifton from What Not to Wear. I don't remember what made me think of that, but I felt like I had to tell you that story right now. I don't know why. It's because I already knew that we didn't have a segment for our next segment before we watched the show, which is
so by production notes. Thanks so much for joining us today.
I forgot that I play the end sound. My bad.
It's okay.
Forgot to
and now for the shortest segment on the show, Mackie, what's in the hatch?
Nothing. End of segment. There is no lost Easter eggs in this episode. There is one lost Easter egg in the next episode, and then we don't get another one until episode 17. It's going to be a long time before we see some more hatch stuff. This is like the part of Lost where the hatch isn't the main thing anymore. We're just trying to figure out what happened in the 70s and like who the Dharma Initiative are and like who cares about the hatch.
Dharma?
Yeah, this is the who cares about the hatch episodes, unfortunately. And I hope that doesn't become a pattern going forward.
Yeah.
But I mean, there are quite a bit left, so it's not like we're not going to get any, but we'll just have a little bit of a...
We're sad.
Of a hiatus from the hatch segment. So now we're gonna watch the show, and the features of our
we have some rules.
Watch party, is
features.
First,
that's a way nicer word than rules.
Features, yeah. Remember when we talked about that? We're like, are these rules? I thought were like rules, but
yeah,
they are.
Yeah, you're right. Feature.
We have a drinking game that we play that we sort of pseudo make up. A lot of it has to do with magic and what people are wearing and repeat things from old episodes or whatever. So as we remember them, we will let you know that a drink is coming. You can drink a adult beverage if you choose, or water or tea.
And I once again have hot and spicy cheese.
Hot and spicy cheese. It's our Isla's drinking game drink of choice.
I have not eaten dinner.
Perfectly fine. We have a drink clink sound, which is just like a little cheers. It's kind of a little homage to our production notes or any like little fun facts or things, random things that we were talking about that are not part of our drinking game. Then we also have this sound. Oops. That was dumb. We have that sound. I literally muted the where the sound comes out from and then said this sound and pushed a button. That is the sound of me playing and pausing the episode, since some people like to sync up and watch it with us, or at least you can just hear over our babbling that we are starting and stopping the show. So that's what that sound is. And we have an extremely familiar voice that you might recognize from Once Upon a Time Storybrooke Circus podcast from previous weeks.
Yeah,
that's right.
time.
Coming at you from episode 30 and all of the episodes before, Will Smith, who is famous for nothing else except for this show. Unknown star. Will Smith.
He's up and coming.
You should pay attention. He's probably going to be a big deal. He lets us know that we are going to rewind. It's rewind time, so that you know that we're going backwards in case you're also syncing the show. And that we might want to rewatch something in case we were talking, or if something is interesting. And the last thing that we need to look out for is the title of the title of the episode, carefully hidden in script lines sometimes, because sometimes they just don't straight up say it. Remind me what the name of this episode is. The Into the Deep. Okay, like the Adele song, I guess.
You need to use the voice.
Oh wait, thank you for reminding me. I gotta prep it first.
Hello, is this working? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Here I am. I am in the witness protection program, and I need you to know that this is the drinking moment of the episode. There may be a way for me to get back into a deep slumber, one that can let me access it again. What? What happened?
I hated all of that. Who wrote this bullshit? This is awful.
This one sucks.
This one sucks so bad. They didn't even into a deep slumber, into the deep. Okay, fine. There may be a way for me to get back into a deep slumber. One that can let me access again. This is just a random thing. Someone is just like, here's something I have to do.
This is the way.
Fine, whatever. All right, and now Into the Deep.